What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I love to talk about all things Peloton cycling and fitness. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single Sunday, and today's video I'm going to be reviewing the Peloton roll call program. And this is like a strength program that Peloton puts out every single week. So it's kind of intrigued me. It's been out for quite some time now. When they launched it, they described it as our favorite strength instructors will teach at the same time every week, Monday to Friday. Everyone who is a Peloton member can take these classes live and on demand, but only members using the Peloton guide will have access to the strength roll call program. We'll be creating a collection of this weekly strength roll call classes into a program exclusively available on the Peloton guide. And this comes out every single weekday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time. And this seems to be kind of the opposite of people that like split training and like to repeat things, because they come out with new classes every single week, which I do think is cool. It's nice that you kind of have both. If you like to repeat the same thing over and over again, you can do that. But if you just want to have something new every single day and still kind of follow a structure, it's kind of cool that they offer this as well. I think I've taken like some roll call classes, like not in any specific program. I just like took them because they're just regular strength classes too. But I figured I would commit to the week, take all the classes, and see how I feel afterwards. They do have different instructors teach like different classes, but it is kind of like the same instructors like week to week. You like see them repeated a lot because there's only so many strength instructors, and they do follow like a schedule. So on Mondays, it is full body. Tuesdays is glutes and legs, Wednesday is core, Thursday is upper body, and Friday is full body as well. And going through the past couple weeks and looking at the roll call classes, it doesn't seem like you're really like locked into a certain length class, which is interesting. So I've seen anything from like 10 minutes to 30 minutes, mostly though around 20 minutes. So today is January 23rd, and I actually cannot take this week's classes because of my workout time. The class comes out at 4:30 a.m. Pacific time, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, which first off, I feel like 7:30 a.m. Eastern is quite late. I know a lot of people work out before 7:30. I do on the West Coast, so I imagine a lot of people on the East Coast do. So it is a very like interesting time to have it, in my opinion. And then because the class came out this morning, it's like not processed yet. It is around 7:30 a.m. here right now, and it's still not up 3 hours later. So I cannot take the class that released today, which was the original plan, but it's okay. I can just go back a week and take last week's. So I'm going to be taking the 30-minute strength roll call full body tagged intermediate by Rebecca Kennedy from January 16th, 2023. And it has been quite some time since I've done a full body class. I feel like they're kind of hard to balance, like hit everything. Sometimes they feel a little bit chaotic, but for 30 minutes, I believe in Rebecca Kennedy. I think she can, bring us a pretty good class. And that is what is on the agenda today. So let's go to the gym and knock out this first roll call class. I actually really enjoyed that class. I was very pleasantly surprised. I think it was structured super well. So we started off, we had a 3-minute body weight warm up, very focused on mobility and opening up, which I always appreciate because I do these before I do like any other exercise. So I'm very cold going into them. And then from the warm up, we did a body weight AMRAP, which I actually enjoyed. It was only 2 minutes long. We did 10 body weight squats. Then we did a forward lunge and backward lunge, like 5 times on each side. So like 10 in all. And then we finished doing a like shoulder push-up where you like only move your shoulders. And I felt like we just kind of opened up the body, warmed it up a little bit more. And then those were the moves that were like the majority of the main set with weight. So I like that we like did them with body weight first, got the heart rate up, and then she's like, grab weights. So Rebecca said to grab medium and heavy weights, where heavy was like 20 to 40 pounds and the medium were 5 to 10 pounds lighter. And she's like, honestly, I like want you to use heavy weights the whole time, but if you feel like you need to go down to medium, like feel free. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna challenge myself and like only grab heavy weights, which is only 20 pounds. It wasn't like I was grabbing like super, super heavy, but 20 pounds is still a push for me. And I was like, I'm not going to grab the medium weights. Like, obviously I can go get them if I need them, but I find if I don't get them at the beginning of the class, it's like less likely that I'll go down to them. So then we started the main set, which really took the bulk of the workout. That was 10 squats with your heavy weight, and she gave you like 40 seconds to do it. So it was like kind of EMOM vibes. If you finished early, you got a little extra recovery. Then you got 15 seconds of recovery. Everyone did, even if you didn't complete the 10. Then we switched to like time, which was a little weird. So I think we did like 40 seconds on each side for the front and back lunges. And we were holding our heavy weights again. And we got no break in between going from like the right side to the left side. So that was like definitely a push and got my heart rate up. Then Rebecca also threw in like bent over rows with her heavy weights, and 20 pounds. That was definitely a push for me. And we just had to do 10 on each side. So we would alternate. So like 20 in all, but 10 on each side. And I think she also gave you like 40 seconds for that. So like, again, like kind of EMOM vibes. And then we finished off by doing like one shoulder push-up and then one real push-up. And Rebecca's like, oh, doing the shoulder push-up first will really help you like curve your back and get you into like really good form for the regular push-up. And I found that to be really true. So the push-ups were definitely still hard, but it wasn't the exact form that I'm used to. And now I wonder if I'm supposed to be doing that all the time, because it did feel slightly easier. So we repeated that set 3 times, and that took like 20 minutes probably. Like that was the majority of the workout. And I did like the moves. They were very simple. It did feel full body because like we were doing rows, we were doing push-ups, but then we also were obviously doing legs. And then your core is kind of working the whole time throughout, which is what I like more. I think I like when core is like integrated with other moves rather than just doing basic core. And I did really like that set. My only complaint was it was a little weird to like switch between doing like the like EMOM time, like try to do the like set number of moves as fast as possible basically, and then like switching to like, oh, we're doing 40 seconds like no matter how many reps you get in. It wasn't a huge deal, and I think it was pretty straightforward to follow, but it was kind of interesting that we're like switching between the two. Then to kind of wrap up the class, we did a 6-minute EMOM, 2 different like sets. So the odd minutes were 10 shoulder push presses. So you like go down a little bit, push up with 20 pounds. That was a huge push for me. And then just 3 jump squats, which I thought it was a little interesting that it was like 10 and 3, because 3 is like pretty easy to do, only 3 jump squats. And I thought she was going to like add on, like the next time I thought she was going to be like, oh, we're doing like 11 and 4, but we did not. We just did 10, 3 the whole time. It was nice because I had like a decent amount of recovery, but I feel like I'd rather do like 7 and 7 or something like that. It just felt like we were doing like a lot of push presses and then like not a lot of jump squats. And then the second minute was 10 sit-ups and then 3 burpees, which I guess I won't complain about that one because 3 burpees is enough for me. And we did that, repeated it 3 times. Really good EMOM. I really like EMOMs. I just feel like they wrap up the class nicely. And then we had 1 minute left. So we did snatches with like one of our either medium or heavy weights. I use my heavy. So you just like reach down, grab, throw it up. I actually really like that move. I feel like I might not be doing it right, but I don't feel like soreness or discomfort from the way I do it. So maybe I am doing it right, but I do really like it. I think it's like a fun move to do for a minute, a good burnout. And then the class was over. We did a little bit of a stretch at the end, and I just felt like it was structured fairly well. My one complaint about the class is sometimes Rebecca would stop, or she would like maybe mention to like start doing this set, but she would not start the set herself. So I did miss like a couple of reps here and there because I was like, are we supposed to be resting or are we supposed to be going? Because I like don't know if I wasn't paying close attention enough, and then she wasn't moving on the screen, but it was definitely something I wasn't used to. I feel like most strength instructors, sometimes they'll like start and then they'll stop to like do call outs or something. But when they don't even start, like then I miss it. I rely heavily like on the visuals. I feel like I'm not that good of a listener when I am like working out and tired. So that was my only complaint, but I'd still give this class like a 7.5 out of 10 for honestly difficulty and enjoyment, maybe an 8 out of 10 for enjoyment. I did really like the moves today. It did feel like a little leading towards leg day, but we did get full body. Like we did a little bit of everything. And I think it was a really good like start to the week. And Rebecca was also like, this is the cheese pizza workout. Like there's no like frills or like extra things, like we're just getting in there or we're doing the work and we're getting out, which I can appreciate. So I really enjoyed the class today. I'm interested to see like if the other classes have similar formats or if they're just like completely different, because we have a brand new instructor tomorrow. So I will see you then. Today's class was really good though. It is now the next day. It is Tuesday morning, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, my glutes are a little sore from yesterday's workout. It was kind of leg heavy, which makes me a little nervous for today because since it's Tuesday, in the roll call program, it is glutes and legs day. So today's class is a 20-minute strength roll call, glutes and legs by Jermaine Johnson. Very excited. I love him. Tagged intermediate from January 17th, 2023. And I think Jermaine will make us work. I really like him. So I'm very excited for this class. Excited to see what he gets up to. And then I'm actually going to stack this class with tomorrow's roll call class because Wednesday is core, so it's a shorter class. And on Wednesdays, I do longer runs. So on days that I do longer runs, I would prefer not to do any exercise besides the long run because the long run is enough exercise. And I feel like that is another benefit of doing like last week's roll call this week because you have way more flexibility if you want to take something earlier. So after Jermaine's leg day, I'm going to go over to a 15-minute strength roll call core class by Kelly Gullickson, tagged intermediate from January 18th, 2023. And just like scrolling back, it looks like Kelly does a lot of the core roll calls. So I'm excited to see what she brings. She's holding weights in the picture, which always makes me a little bit nervous when we're doing core, but hopefully her cheery personality can, get me through. Core is definitely my least favorite. Legs are probably my favorite though. So we kind of have a up and down day, but I'm excited for both classes, and let's hit the gym and knock out these 2 strength classes. Those were another 2 great classes. I'm really enjoying this roll call program more than I thought I would. Maybe I just miss normal Peloton strength classes. I typically take like the split ones, so this is a little bit of a change. They really just flew by, and I felt like it was fun to take like different teachers, different instructors each time to kind of keep it fun and fresh. So we started with Jermaine Johnson. I love him. I knew I was going to like this class. We started off a 2-minute mobility warm-up. A little short for me, but it was 20 minutes, so he didn't have a lot of time to work with. And the class just flew by for me. I think it is because I'm used to taking 30-minute classes, but 20 minutes was over so fast. Jermaine said to grab medium and heavy weights. I believe medium, he said 10 to 20, and heavy, he said 15 to 30. And originally I just grabbed 20 pounds because I was like, for legs, I feel like I can just do everything for 20 pounds, but I did go and get 25 pounds when we did RDLs. So I guess my heavies were 25, but I didn't always use them when he said heavy. Sometimes I just stuck with the 20. We started off doing dumbbell squats. He said, use your medium. I used 20 pounds, and we did those for 45-second chunks, where you're supposed to get 10 to 12 reps in. If you did the 12 reps, you could get like a little extra recovery, which I always appreciate. Kind of gives you motivation to keep it moving along. And we did that 3 times with a 15-second rest in between. So we were really like started. We were going right at the beginning. That really elevated the heart rate. Then we did 30 seconds of a squat jump, which those are always killer, but it was only 30 seconds. And then we held a squat in an isometric hold for 30 seconds. And that was even more killer. But then after that, we kind of moved on from the squats, which I was grateful for. And we went into the second set, which were RDLs. I grabbed my 25 pounds and I believe we did 10 to 12 of those in 45 seconds. And then we alternated those with front lunges, which were 12 to 16 reps in 45 seconds. Alternating, so it was only like 6 to 8 on each side. He said to use your heavy weights, I think, for both of these, but for the lunges, I used 20. 25 pounds is still like a little out of my range for lunges, but the 25 pounds did feel good for the deadlifts. And we did that set 3 times. Then we did another isometric hold for 45 seconds each, where we like just went into a lunge and then we switched sides. And the isometric holds just kill me. Those were so hard. And then we finished with an AMRAP, which also would not normally be my jam, but I just like Jermaine Johnson, so I guess I'll give him a pass. We did 30 seconds of dumbbell swings, and I think he said use your medium weight. I tried 25 pounds for one, and then I went down to 20 for the last 2 sets. And then with the other 30 seconds, we did a drop squat, which is like, you basically like jump out into a squat and then jump up into a straight line. And we did that 3 times in a row with like no break. So we just went from swing, squat, swing, squat, swing, squat. So that was quite the burnout at the end. Definitely a hard workout. I was a little sweaty at the end, but I did really enjoy it. And I just feel like for me, Jermaine Johnson can do no wrong. So I would give it like an 8 out of 10 for difficulty and like a 9.5 out of 10 for enjoyment. Maybe a 9 out of 10 now that I'm thinking about those couple isometric holds that he slipped in there. But I did really, really enjoy this class. I thought it was a very fun one. And then we went on over to the core class, which I was definitely nervous about, but it wasn't too bad. Callie said to grab lightweight. She said either 5 to 10 pounds. I did 10 pounds because I just don't have 5 pounds in that gym. And I thought that 10 pounds were fine. We did a little bit of a warm up and then we did a dead bug with weights. So we would like lift the weights over our head and then come all the way up. That was definitely hard, but honestly, I kind of like weighted workouts with core. I don't know why. I just feel like it makes it feel almost easier if it like balances you out at all. And then we alternated that move with a like plank to pike, but then you took the weights and put them near your feet. And then like the next time you would like move them back near your hands. And that one was really hard. And we did both of those moves for 40 seconds each and repeated that set 3 times. So by the time we were done with that, we were already like halfway through the class because this class was only 15 minutes. We were getting in and getting out. And then the second set, we did a hollow body hold while like fluttering our arms. That was hard, but at least we were kind of moving away from the dumbbells. And then we did hip dips on either side. And I don't know why, but the hip dips were just like killing me. Like it was a side plank with a hip dip. I don't know. I'm usually not that bad at those, I feel like, but they were really working me hard today. And we did each of those moves 30 seconds each with 15 seconds of recovery. And we repeated that set 3 times. And then we were done except for a little finisher at the end, which was just a forearm plank while holding a weight between our legs, which is just killer. Makes the plank even harder if you feel like planks aren't hard enough. So it was fun. I liked it. Like I don't really like core and I like this class. So I feel like that speaks to something. I would give it like a maybe 7 out of 10 for difficulty and like a 7 out of 10 for enjoyment, which is very high for me for a core class. So although it seems low, I'm still giving this one a good review. I just don't really like working out core, but I did like this class. I feel like because we got in there and repeated the moves it kind of just passed by really quickly and it was over before I knew it, which is honestly what I want out of a core class at the end of the day. I just want to get through it as painless as possible. So both of these classes were really good today and I'm excited to see what the last two are like. They're definitely different from each other, but I kind of like it because you get like a different instructor every time, which makes it more fun, like just some diversity. And I feel like they are structured kind of like the split programs where you're doing like the same moves with more repetition compared to like older Peloton strength classes I would do. Like we would do sets still, but I feel like they were a little more chaotic. I feel like these are more structured with intent, which I really appreciate. It is now 2 days later. It is Thursday morning and I'm ready to get right back into the roll call. I had yesterday off from strength, but I did a longer run. So I'm feeling refreshed, feeling good today, and I'm ready to tackle the Thursday class, which is a 20-minute strength roll call, upper body by Adrienne Williams, tagged intermediate from January 19th, 2023. And I love these 20-minute classes. They go by like a blink of the eye, and I do really like Adrienne too. So again, I'm excited. I've loved all the classes so far. No reason to think I'd have a problem with this one. So let's hit the gym and knock out this upper body strength class. I enjoyed the class today, but I probably pushed myself a little bit too hard. So we started off and Adrienne is like, grab light and heavy weights. I have 10 and 30 pounds. And before the class even started, I kind of had in my head that I wanted to grab 15 and 20 pounds. That's what I've been grabbing for upper body days recently. So I was like, that's the plan. But then when he said he had 10, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not taking more than Adrienne. So let me grab 10 and 20 pounds. That seems reasonable. 20 pounds is heavy for me. 10 is light. Let's get into it. So we started off with a weighted warm up, which I feel like is Adrienne's thing because that was also him in the split. Not my favorite. I had fortunately done Pilates beforehand. So I was like a little warm. I wasn't absolutely cold, but I would prefer just like a mobility warm up. But we did a little weighted warm up. We did some lateral raises. We like held the weights here, all with our lightweight. So it wasn't like super hard or anything, but you know, it did warm me up, I guess, a little bit. It just wasn't like a really good like mobility warm up, which is what I look for. And then we got into the main set, which I like the main set. I just think that maybe I was trying to go too high on the weights. So we had like 2 big sets and each set we repeated 4 times. So the first one was neutral grip shoulder presses. So like this, I believe we got like 40 seconds to do 6 to 8. And then bent over rows. And both of those were with our heavy weights. And for me, 20 pounds is good for bent over rows, but it is a lot for shoulder presses. Even 15 pounds is like still a push for me for shoulder presses. I can do it. That's like kind of my comfortable weight, but 20 pounds was very, very hard. I was definitely struggling and I could feel my ribs flaring, which means that you're lifting too heavy. At least it means it for me. So I was really trying to focus on like getting the reps in and not have my ribs flare. 6 to 8 is not doing them super fast for like the 30 or 40 seconds we got. So that's kind of the saving grace that at least I got 6. But I don't know. This is always something I struggle with where I never know like when to go up for weights because that probably would have been pretty easy if I was using 15 pounds, but for 20 pounds, I don't know if I had the form right. And then I don't think that's helping me at all. And then we repeated that 4 times and I stuck with the 20 pounds. I was like, I'll just go slow and really try not to flare my ribs, but I still feel like at the end of the day, I was flaring my ribs. Then the second set was very similar to the first set. It was just shoulder presses like wide angle, so up like that. And then following it up with renegade rows, which I did struggle with 20 pounds for the renegade rows, but I just went down to my knees after the first time. And then I thought it was fine. And yeah, the shoulder presses were also hard with 20 pounds, but you only need to do 6 to 8 reps. So like you did have time to go slowly, try to get the form right. It was just a really big push day for me. This is the first time I've done 20-pound like shoulder presses. So, you know, there was a little bit of a struggle. And then we finished up with an AMRAP, which I actually didn't mind. It was the like shoulder presses where you start like this and then curl up, but we alternated and we did 4 of those. And then we grabbed our light weights and did 4 reverse flies. And at this point, 10-pound reverse flies feels so easy because I've been struggling with 20 pounds for like all the other moves. So that was a fine AMRAP. I believe it was 4 minutes to wrap it up, and then the class was over. Not a ton of time because we did only have 20 minutes, and I did like the set, and it wasn't bad when I was going through it. Like, I still had an enjoyable time. I just don't know if 20 pounds was right for me or if I should have gone down to 15. But overall, I like the set. Like the vibes. I thought it was a good class. I really like when the instructors structure it more like an EMOM, or they're like, oh, like try to do 6 to 8 reps. I think that is like in partnership with the guide, because the guide counts your reps. So they like want to use that feature. But I like classes structured that way compared to like, oh, just go for 30 seconds. Like, I feel a lot more purpose and a lot more motivation when it's like, you have 30 seconds, like get 6 reps in, because then I don't feel bad if I'm like taking longer, because I'm like, I'm only supposed to do 6. And if I can do them faster, then I get a little bit of a recovery. So I don't know. I really like the structure, and I feel like all of the roll call classes kind of have this structure because it is in partnership with the guide. So although today was definitely a push, it was still enjoyable. I give it like a 9.5 out of 10 for difficulty, although that's definitely on me for choosing the weights I had. And then probably like an 8 out of 10 for enjoyability, just because it was a big push for me. I still had a good time while doing it, but man, it was a push. It is now Friday morning and I'm ready for my last roll call class of the week. I'm actually not sore from yesterday, which I really thought my shoulders were going to be sore today. So that's always a good thing. So I am feeling fresh and ready to go into the last class, which is a 30-minute strength roll call full body by Rad Lopez, tagged intermediate, from January 20th, 2023. And Rad Lopez is right on up there with Jermaine Johnson. I love Rad. Really, this entire week of instructors have been instructors that I really like. So it's been a good week, and I'm excited to see what Rad brings for the final full body class. I am a little nervous because on Saturdays I go for my super long runs, and I was sore after the last full body class, but hopefully Rad takes it a little bit easier on us. We'll see. Let's go to the gym and knock out this final strength class. I am so surprised because I usually love Rad, but I absolutely hated that class. 100% would never take again. Pretty much every single thing that I dislike about Peloton strength classes was in this class. It was just a bad time. We started off with a 5-minute mobility warm-up, which I was super hype about. So the warm-up was great. I'm like going into this with a great attitude. We, just opened up like our legs, our shoulders, chest, felt really good going into the main set. Rad said to grab light and heavy weights. At first I was thinking 10 and 20, but then he said for light, think hammer curls, which I prefer to do with 15. 10 pounds is pretty light for me, but then also tricep kickbacks, which I still prefer to do with 10. And then for heavy, he said, think RDLs and squats, I think. So I was like, I don't know what to get, because RDLs I usually like to go up to 25, but I ended up getting 10, 15, and 20, and then adjusted based on what the workout was. And then we did a minute plank, and he was like, oh, this is like a buy-in for the first set. I've never heard that terminology from him before, but I honestly haven't taken a strength class from him in a while, so maybe it's a new thing. So after we did this minute-long plank, we got into the first set, and the first set was RDLs and then like a clean, so like basically rocking your weights, and you're supposed to like bend your knees and like get your core into it. So we did that for 30 seconds. Then we went into a jump squat with weights for 30 seconds, and then we did push-ups for 30 seconds. Not a fan of the jump squats with weights. I did 15, but I probably should have just gone down to 10. I don't know. It wasn't like super hard. I just don't really get like the benefit or joy of doing jump squats with weights. Like, let's just do them without weights. And if we want to do squats, let's pick up heavier weights and do like real squats that aren't jump squats. For the RDLs, I did 20 pounds because I was nervous with like the clean move that 25 could hurt my back, and I think that was fine. And then the push-ups were push-ups. Not my favorite move, but like I can't really hold it against you for making me do push-ups. So that first set we repeated 3 times, which honestly like wasn't that bad yet. Like it was a little chaotic and I didn't feel like the moves went together that well, but no real complaints. But then once we got into the second set, that's where the complaints started coming. So we did a minute of bent over row buy-in, which like doesn't have anything to do with the main set. I don't know. I don't like this like buy-in thing. It just feels like chaotic and very random. If you like to just do random moves, then you would like this class. I just feel like we did like a bunch of random things. So after this minute buy-in, we got into the 5-minute AMRAP, which was not my favorite. So it was a ladder. So we started by doing like 10 of the 2 moves and going down to 9, and you just like were supposed to keep decreasing. And the 2 moves were burpees and then V-ups. And I just like wasn't a fan of this AMRAP because with burpees, it gets my heart rate so elevated. And then I feel like the V-ups didn't take long enough to like bring down my heart rate. And for me, I would be interested in like what you guys think, but I'm not a huge fan of like cardio in strength. For me, I don't think that there's like a lot of value in it, but I could be wrong. I haven't like done a lot of research on this, but personally, I would just rather lift heavy weights when I'm doing strength workouts and then do cycling and do running for my cardio. I don't know if there's benefit of like doing strength cardio, which is kind of like what I consider this AMRAP to be, something that really elevates your heart rate while not also doing like super heavy weights. But yeah, I just wasn't a fan. I'm not a fan of burpees in general. So that was like the majority of this 5-minute AMRAP. So then we got past that and we were doing another minute buy-in of a random move where it was like squatting and then like walking forward and walking back. That is hard. And at this point, like we're mostly just doing body weight, which I don't have anything against body weight, but I pretty much never do body weight unless if I'm like on vacation and don't have access to weights. If I do have access to weights, I would prefer not to do body weight. So after that, we finished and went into like our last set, which were hammer curls where we were only on 1 foot. And that helps you like not, I guess, use your back more for hammer curls. It helps with form and balance. And I actually like that move. He said to use light weights, and I think he wanted you to get in like 10 to 12 reps in 20 seconds, if I remember correctly. So he obviously wanted you to go like very, very fast, which is also not my favorite thing about Peloton classes. I feel like I'm spoiled with the splits and I'd rather try to push heavier and go slower and really focus on form than just use light weights and like go really fast. I think that depends on like what your goals are, at least to my understanding. Like doing more reps with lighter weights will tone you more, while doing heavier reps and slower will build like more bulky muscle. So it just depends, but I'm still trying to like work up my weight. So I don't really want to do like lighter weights at a faster tempo. So I just did 15 pounds and went slower. And that was definitely a theme overall. A lot of the times he wouldn't tell you how many reps he wanted you to do. He did reference that it would be on your screen sometimes. So I'm guessing for like guide users, you could always see it. But whenever he did mention how many reps he thought you should be doing, it was always like very high. Like it was never like, you should be doing this slowly and like working on form. It was like light weights and fast movement was definitely the theme of this class. So after we did the hammer curls, we did tricep kickbacks, did the hammer curls on the other side, tricep kickbacks again, and we repeated that twice. For the hammer curls, like I said, I used 15, but for the tricep kickbacks, I went down to 10. And then to finish off, we had a 1-minute break after we did those 2 rounds, which I thought was kind of a lot. And then we did 30 seconds of mountain climbers to end the class, which it's fine. Like, I don't hate mountain climbers. I don't love them. At that point, I was just ready for the class to be done. I don't know. I just felt like it was so chaotic. And based on the rest of the week, it really felt like split training, but with like new instructors and like new kinds of structure, which I always appreciate. Like, I felt like it was keeping it really fresh. But then today I just absolutely hated it. And I can't believe that Rad did this class because I usually love Rad. So it was just disappointing, but you know, we got through it. I would give it like a 6 out of 10 for difficulty. It definitely depends like what you're doing in this class. I feel like I didn't follow it that well because a lot of the time I was trying to choose heavier weights and go slower. And then the AMRAP, I definitely took a couple breaks in there because there were a lot of burpees. And for enjoyability, I would give it like a 2 out of 10. I was really not a fan. It is kind of a bummer that the week ended on this note, but I would try roll call again. I did really enjoy the first 4 classes. And maybe I would just try to pick weeks that Rad was not teaching, / I might give him another chance. Like, Rad is one of my faves, so maybe I'll give him a pass. But I did feel like the other classes were more structured than the typical Peloton class and more focused on moving slower and like getting heavy reps in, which I appreciate. But then I also wonder, since I want that, if I should just stick to split training. I do like that it does the 5 weekdays and then you have the weekends off though, because I typically run on Saturday and then take Sunday as a rest day. So it fits with my schedule very nicely. And like the Wednesday core is kind of a breakup from like doing the heavier lifting on the other days. So I don't know, if you've taken the roll call classes versus the split classes, I'd be very curious to see what you think. And I'd also be curious if you've just taken the roll call classes and if you've gotten into a groove. I think it is cool because even though I was taking last week's, like a lot of people were taking the class with me. And today, like when I started the class route, it's like, oh, happy Friday. And like, it's actually Friday. Even though it's still a week lag, it does feel cool to like take something more current and more in real time. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.